friends, welcome to Anna's Violets. Today we're going to plant these cuttings of Philodendron Scandens Brazil in a pot with moss pole. Hey everyone, I'm Anna, and on this channel we're talking about plants and garden. So if you're interested in plants, if you grow plants, you may consider subscribing to this channel as I post videos every week and I share with you my experience. So today we're going to plant these cuttings of Scandens Brazil Philodendron with the help of this moss pole, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to do it, how to plant it, and how to take care of the moss first of all, so that your plant is growing happy. Let's start. Hey everyone, so I changed the camera so that you see better, and I want to show you first of all the cuttings. Look at this one, it has 2 leaves and it's already growing. It's growing from here, and these are the roots. And from the roots also there is another sprout growing. The roots are in perfect condition, so this is already enough, for the plant to establish well and actually grow. Look at this one. Just 1 leaf, and this is, by the way, from the sun, it's sunburned. But here it's already a small baby growing. So again, the roots are perfect. From the node, here is also another baby growing. So these are cool. And then this one, the root is just, a smaller, just 1 root. But here it's also growing 1, 2, and 3. So this one is also perfect. Look at this one. The leaves are a little bit smaller here. But look at this, it's already growing, sprouting, and the roots are again perfect. And another one, again, the leaves are a little bit smaller and the roots are perfect. This one has just 1 leaf and no roots, unfortunately, so I will still keep this in the water. It's already sprouting from here. Even though you can plant this one directly in the soil as well and keep the soil moist, and it will still grow, but I just want to keep it separate and to keep it still in water so that it gives roots, and I will plant this separately, and maybe, it will be a smaller plant but separate, in a separate pot. Okay, what I want to mention here, well, first of all, we will be planting it together with this moss pole. And if you want your Epipremnums, Philodendrons, Scindapsus, Monsteras to grow bigger leaves, then you may probably want to use a moss pole, a moss stick, because if they grow attached to the moss pole, then the roots, the aerial roots, grow also into the moss pole, and they take moisture from the moss pole as well. And this way they grow towards the light and the leaves get bigger and bigger. But if you grow these plants in a basket, as a hanging plant, which is also a very beautiful plant, I would say, if you grow it in a hanging basket. However, the leaves will get smaller and smaller. So I was growing this in a hanging basket for maybe over a year, and I noticed that the leaves are smaller and smaller. So let's say these ones were the first leaves, and now compared to this, see the leaves? The size of the leaves is just because it was growing hanging. And now I want to have bigger leaves, and that's why I'm going to plant it with the moss pole. If you if you don't care about the size of the leaves, well, the smaller leaves are also beautiful. Look how beautiful they are. You can still grow it as a hanging plant. I think both options are just cool. So there was another video where I showed you how I planted in a basket so that they grow hanging, and I will link the video in the top right corner. You can go ahead and watch that one after this one too if you want to. And another thing that I want to mention about the leaves is that you need to grow these plants in a very bright area. They still can grow in a shade, semi-shade. However, the Scandens Brazil would lose its variegation. Look at this leaf. And if it's just absolutely green, maybe the new leaves will not have the variegation at all. So you see that now I brought these plants towards the light a little bit, and now I have this variegation on these ones. But the older ones that were growing in semi-shade, sometimes even shade in the winter months, that they didn't see sun or sunlight at all, yeah, they turn almost green and they lose the variegation. So hopefully the new leaves will still have the variegation. And let me show the soil now, where it's very light soil. It's just a little bit of potting mix, just a universal soil, but then there is this leca and bark that we use for orchids, and also perlite. There may a little bit be also moss, but I didn't add it. It was just in the Ceramis, which is the potting mix for orchids. So basically it's bark, leca, and a little bit of moss. So this is what I'm going to plant my cuttings in, and let's start. Alright, now let's add a little bit of soil here. Of course, your pot needs to have holes. And for these plants, you can actually use clay pots as well, because it's better if the soil gets dry quicker. But now I have this plastic pot because I want in a higher pot, so that when I stick the moss in the center, the level of the bottom of the moss pole will be kind of equal to the pot, because then I can add the soil and then it will be easier for my plants to climb on the moss pole, rather than if it would have been higher and then the plants would still need to grow a little bit to get attached to the moss stick. Alright, so we put this in the very center and we add a little bit of more soil. And the cuttings should be planted closer to the moss pole so that they can kind of grow attached to it, very close to it. So this one will be just like this. We can just now arrange them, and then we will add a little bit of more soil so that we fix them in their places. Okay, so this one will come here like this. I would like to see this stem. There is this curve here, and that's why I want to plant it just like this, so that the plant grows closer to the moss pole. By the way, don't choose bigger pots because they will stay wet longer and your cuttings can have root rot. Now let's use some twine to help these cuttings to grow on the moss pole. So I have this here. This came also with the moss sticks. So I'm going to cut them into smaller pieces. Don't do it too tight, but just bring the cuttings closer to the moss pole. Later, when the plants grow their aerial roots into the moss pole, we can easily remove this twine, because then the plants will be able to just stick to the moss pole just by themselves with their own roots. But for the beginning, they will need a little bit of help. Okay, looks good to me. Now let's water it. And of course, you can also spray the moss pole.